The time has come to cultivate unwavering trust in yourself. Never before have things been so confusing with so many mixed messages, conflicting information, differing views, and opinions coming at us for us to sift and wade through. It's exhausting, and I cannot be the only one who's exhausted by it. For every one statement made, there's another one that completely contradicts it. It's no wonder stress is at an all-time high. We live in an extremely confusing time when it's hard to trust anyone or any information, and not just because we're suspicious of the people themselves, but because we know that they're just as confused as we are. And that is why it's time, my friends, that we look inward. Did you know that every person has an internal guidance system that helps them make the correct choice for them every single time? In this video, we're going to talk about that, how to tap into it, and how to turn down the volume of the world and tune into your inner knowing, where you will find more peace and stability than you've ever experienced. Sound good? Let's get started. Hi there, I'm Amy Titus, Radical Self-Compassion and Joy Coach of The Awakening Design, where I help people understand and align to their unique, energetic, and soul level gifts so that they can live the life of their dreams. Now, this month, we've been discussing how to align to your authentic self. In today's video, we're going to discuss how to cultivate an unshakable trust in yourself in these super intense and confusing times. Let's dive in. Now, if you're anything like me, I grew up watching the news with my family. Every night we would watch the news, and what we saw on the screen before us, we believed. Now, we understood that the stories were often slanted towards a political agenda, but for the most part, we knew that what was being presented as facts were indeed facts. There was a universal truth, an understanding of reality that most people could rely on regardless of which news source you were tuned into. In the past few years, and maybe it's been happening slowly over time, even longer than that, this has stopped. How is it possible that one news or information source can provide information that is in complete opposition to another? And as consumers of this information, it's getting more and more clear that we can no longer take with blind faith what we're being given the way that our grandparents or even our parents did. There is no longer one universal truth when it comes to what the heck is going on. And that fact is terrifying, but it doesn't have to be. Each of us has our own internal guidance system, our own way of knowing what is correct for us, what path to take, and who to take it with, what is important for our highest good, and what matters for us to pay attention to. It has always been and will always be available to us. We just have to know how to access it. Before we get into what this is, there is another thing that we can no longer do, and it's really important. In this time, it is no longer okay for us to abdicate our decision-making processes and reasoning skills to somebody else. We may have been comfortable in the past allowing other people to make our choices for us or following what our family has always done, but that time is over. No matter how well-meaning the people in your life are, they will never truly know what is correct for you, what is best for you. Only you have access to that information. It's time to stand in your autonomy and call back the power that you've given to others around what you should do. And you're not alone in this. Everyone does it. Everyone abdicates a little bit of their power to others because it's easier or to not make waves. If you think about it, you can probably identify relationships or situations where you can be a little more empowered and stand a little bit more in your authority. Make the decision to call that power back to yourself. This is the most important step to developing unshakable trust in yourself. If you've made it this far in the video, I would love to invite you to join the Awakening Design community and like this video and subscribe to my channel. Join me on Instagram and Facebook as well for a lot more content and information about upcoming events and trainings. I'm also starting a new Facebook group, the Awakening Design Community Spiritual Growth and Development Group, where I will contribute growth and expansion focused content to help you on your spiritual journey to self-actualization in a space of love, compassion, and kindness. I'll put the link to that in the description box. When we understand our own thoughts and feelings, it is so much easier to tune into what is correct for us. This takes a process called deconditioning. We shed the thoughts, feelings, belief systems, and agenda of the world and listen to what we, the us free from fear, obligation, shame, and guilt, think and feel. We evaluate everything we were taught by our families that we should want and do and discard what doesn't align to the truest nature of ourselves. You see, our family and other people who raised us did the best they could to protect us by trying to mold and shape us into who they thought we should be based on their frame of reference. But their frame of reference does not apply to these crazy times or to the beautifully unique, infinitely powerful being that we are. So it's time to toss what doesn't fit, what isn't a vibrational match for who we are. And when we do this, there's less contradictory energy within us, and we feel more at peace and more in resonance with who we are at the highest level, and we naturally begin to trust life and ourselves more. Now, I know there are so many thoughts and feelings that we experience on a daily basis. How can we start the task of deciding which is us and which is conditioning? It takes time and practice, but one way to get started is to notice when a thought or feeling comes across your mind that just doesn't feel right. It makes you feel uneasy, and then ask if it is truly your belief or idea or if it's conditioning. Here's an example. I may be washing my dishes, looking out my window at my car and say, I can't wait to get a new car. It's totally time to level up. And with that thought, an unsettling, questioning feeling may come over me. Now, when this happens, I can stop, look inwards, and ask myself if that's really how I feel. Am I really discontent with my car? What's wrong with my car? Upon further reflection, I may come to the fact that my car is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, it was my dream car when I got it, and I really love my car. Now, it's my parents who have always put a lot of importance on having the nicest, newest car possible, but that is their belief system, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just not mine. I can release that belief right then and there. And every time in the future that thought crosses my mind about needing a new car, even though mine's perfectly wonderful, I will have the awareness and consciousness that that belief isn't mine, and soon it'll dissipate from my vibrational experience and my mind. Does that make sense? Okay, here's another one. I may have thought about something that I don't like, a store, a brand, a type of pie, and that same unsettled feeling may arise. I can ask myself, do I really not like that thing? When I look inward, I may find that I have no preference one way or another, that it's really not even that important to me, or that I do, in fact, enjoy something that I have been trained by my family or peer group to not like. An easy way to get down to the truth and how you feel or think is to keep asking yourself why, like a cute little inquisitive child. I don't like such and such. Okay, but why? Because I don't like the way it looks. Okay, why? Because it looks gaudy. Okay, why does it look gaudy? I don't know. When I was in my 20s, my best friend always made fun of people who had it. So, okay, yeah, no, that's not your true belief or feeling. Just remember, when a belief that is contrary to your truth comes up, it's usually accompanied by a feeling of uneasiness or questioning. Pay attention to that feeling. With a little time implementing this, you will get more and more effective and accurate at distinguishing what is your personal truth and what is not. When we have a lack of trust in ourselves, it's usually because we don't have an intimate, loving relationship with our own experience and feelings, and/or we have been told time and time again that our thoughts and feelings are wrong or invalid. We have to release this. No one knows what's correct or right for you more than you. Not your parents, not your spouse, not your best friend, not your sibling, pastor, rabbi, nobody. Did you know that everyone has their own energetic, physical connection with what is correct for them? Most people get a visceral resonance within their gut that signals to them whether something is right or wrong for them. It's that gut feeling right in the moment when you just know. For others, they should let their emotions guide them over time to the correct choice for them. And this is totally contradictory to what we've been taught. It has been said over and over that we shouldn't let our emotions guide us, but for some, your emotions will lead you correctly every single time. Others are led by their intuition in the moment. They just find themselves doing what is correct. Some need to check in with their wants and desires before making a choice. And even still, some people can access their truth by actually speaking the words out loud and then experience how those words resonate within them to find their truth. We are all so beautifully different in this way. Figure out what method is your method for discovering what is correct for you. And you do this by understanding one of my absolute favorite spiritual development methodologies, human design. The next part can be tricky if you let it, but don't let it. In a world where we've been taught not to trust ourselves, but to trust the word of other people, we have to choose to believe in our own inner knowing. Unfortunately, most of us try to figure things out using our minds. Well, especially in these times, our minds are nuts. There's a lot going on up there, and the egoic self is running around setting wild, small fires and making us crazy, mostly trying to keep us safe by convincing us to do what we've always done. Especially in this time with all this collective stress, you cannot trust your mind. Your internal guidance system has nothing to do with your mind, however. Your internal guidance system is directly connected to your highest self, your connection with Source or God. I'm a master level human design coach, and if you're interested in learning more about your unique human design, I'll put a link in the description for you to check out. So, once we have deconditioned and learned how to access our internal guidance system, there is one more piece that leads us to developing deep and unwavering trust in ourselves. When we step out and start to make decisions for ourselves that may be outside of how we've lived and done things in the past, we may decide to take a break from social media, find a new church, start a new career, or move across the country. We are probably going to catch resistance. When we call back our power and start to make decisions for ourselves, the people in our lives who have been used to making our decisions for us or used to us going along with the herd may be uncomfortable, and they may be even downright unhappy about it. Here you have to make a choice because sometimes, depending on their role in your life, it may seem easier to just give up your decision-making power and fall in line as the get-along boy or girl once more. Don't do that. Please don't do that. With love, compassion, and kindness, let them know that you're making the choice for yourself, that you trust yourself fully, and you know that everything is working out for your highest good. And then prove that to them by going ahead and doing it. It goes without saying that when we cultivate this kind of trust in ourselves, when we show up, we're going to show up everywhere with more confidence, more strength, and more stability. Fear and anxiety will drop because we know that we're listening to our inner wisdom and we'll be able to address anything that needs to be addressed at the correct time and in the correct way. We stop looking outside of ourselves for answers and stop being obsessed with what is going on out there because we have peace and security in here. I want to give you a personal story to wrap up. In 2016, I stopped watching the news. There was so much going on politically and socially, and things were going off the rails. At least that's how it felt to me. And I'm going to be candid with you. As an African-American person, I did not feel safe. Social media both terrified me, and yet I was unable to get off it. My newsfeed made me feel sick to my stomach, but then when I wasn't looking at it, I felt anxious. I was in a really bad place. After one afternoon of staring at my phone for literally like 3 hours straight, I decided I'd had enough. I took a several-month hiatus from social media and I stopped following or watching the news completely. Now, this is where it got good. After a few days, I started to feel a huge shift. I felt calmer. My mind wasn't racing as much. I didn't have this feeling of impending doom. I started being able to pour my energy into things that really mattered to my life at the time. And I got so much clarity around what my place was in everything that was going on. It became clear to me that anything and everything that was important for me to know would be brought to my attention outside of the news or social media. And you know what? It was. I still don't watch the news to this day, but every bit of information that is relevant to me and my purpose is told to me or I find out in some random way. What is correct for me to know comes to me. Isn't that amazing? When I'm visiting someone and they're watching the news, I get up and go do something else until they're done. When people come to my house, I let them know that we're not going to watch the news if the TV's on, or I get up and leave until they're done. It's a choice that I made for myself over 5 years ago, and it's the correct one for me. It doesn't matter what other people think about it, and it has led to so much peace in my life. I trusted and continue to trust myself. So, what about you? In what way can you trust yourself into making a decision for your life that will bring more peace, happiness, clarity, love, stability to you and your experience? In what way can you advocate for a better quality of life and trust that your inner knowing will get you there? Remember that to cultivate trust, you must take back your decision-making power and autonomy, decondition from the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that are not yours, and uncover your unique internal guidance system that will always lead you to making the correct choice for you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Amy Titus, Radical Self-Compassion and Joy Coach of The Awakening Design, where I help people understand and align to their unique soul-level gifts so that they can live the life of their dreams. If you haven't already done so, please like and subscribe and follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and be on the lookout for the new The Awakening Design Spiritual Development and Growth Facebook group. I will be launching super soon. See you in the first week of April when we dive into allowing transitional times in life and leaning in with confidence. Bye!